Hey everybody, meteorologist Brad Petovich here. It's the moment we've been waiting for. The cold is back. It's only about 12 hours away, maybe 20 hours away. Depends on where you are. But not only is it going to be cold, but we're going to have 24-hour snowmaking kind of cold going through the weekend, next week, and even colder air for Christmas. The snowmakers are going to have a field day. I mean, I think the skiing is going to be amazing just because of the cold and the snowmakers and the grooming. But we're probably going to have some natural snow as well. And that's what I want to get right to. Let's get right to the precipitation. So I said we're still about 12 hours away. Tonight into early Thursday. Yeah, we've got some icing going on up here in West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania. So there's a little bit of icing. That will probably transition to a little bit of snow. At some point, I'm thinking late Thursday night and Friday as the flow swings around to the northwest. And you see hints of that. I know the guidance is never going to pick it up very well. It's not the perfect setup because there's not a connection to the Great Lakes, but there is some lingering moisture back here that could allow for northwest. Don't get super excited. It's just, hey, it's going to be a little sugar on top of some of the cold temperatures. So southern stream system passes off to the south of us. This is really a no news kind of thing. But as the flow becomes more of a northwesterly direction, we might pick up some lake effect, long-range lake effect northwest flow into West Virginia, Maryland. But it's really next week. It's cold throughout this period. So snowmaking primarily at night, but I think a lot of times it's going to be 24/7 except for a few hours in the middle of the day. Next week, there's this massive Arctic front and system that'll be moving across the country. There's a lot of finer details that are still yet to be worked out. Do we see some kind of coastal low? I don't know. That's questionable. Is there one down here? This is the story. This is the trough, the cold front. That's a little more confident what we know is going to happen. These other elements, not so much. But as it pushes through, it's going to bring in some really cold air because the air behind it's Arctic. So it's going to squeeze out every drop of moisture in this Arctic air and likely produce some really good fluffy southeast powder. And this is really going into Friday and then Christmas Eve. Maybe a resurgence of that northwest flow. And that is a cold, cold pattern. In fact, let me show you the temperatures because this week, you see, once this front moves through tonight and tomorrow, it's pretty consistently cold all weekend. But see all that kind of aqua shade up there? That's below 0 Fahrenheit. That stuff starts moving southeast. And when that front, I mean, look at that front. I mean, you think I'm kidding. Look at that thing. I mean, the temperature spread across it is going to be epic. It's going to move down, move across the country and get here by Friday into Christmas Eve. I mean, look at these temperatures, folks. These are below 0 single digits. So really good snowmaking, the dry, cold stuff. And look at the cold air lingering back here that has still yet to move through. So let's look at the totals, at least from the European guidance. I'll play the European guidance first just to kind of give you a rough idea. I think it's going to underdo the amount of northwest flow snow, especially behind the Arctic front, just because typically you squeeze out a lot more moisture out of those systems. So we'll go back. Whoops. Sorry, I didn't mean to go jump the gun on you there. Let's go back to the snowfall map because I want to show you a little bit closer view. I always like to zoom in a little bit here. So we'll zoom into the Carolinas first. Yeah, I think 2 to 4 by the time we get to next Saturday is certainly possible. Look at some of these totals up in West Virginia, Maryland. Oh man, boy, up into Pennsylvania. Boy, there's some big totals in the Northeast. But that's a pretty good setup. In fact, you see the little hints of the Northwest feeders coming in off the Great Lakes here. That's always a nice sign. That kind of tells you, yeah, we're going to have some pretty cold air in place and some good snow. But it's the cold air that's the story. So when we look at the 5-day forecast, this is all great news. I mean, cold, 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 and more cold. And it's going to last through the holiday. So if you've been waiting and you had these plans for months, man, I'm going to go skiing Christmas weekend or the week before or the week after because I'm out of school or I'm out of work, and you got nervous with the blowtorch happening early in the month, don't sweat it now because this is going to be amazing. Some awesome holiday skiing is ahead. Let's hope we get a storm, though, to kind of add to this. Right now, there's no real signs of one big storm. It's kind of disconcerting, but kind of disjointed with the jet stream. There's cold air, but the systems can't come together to form a big system and phase us with a nice, large synoptic system. So we're going to rely on northwest flow, and the snowmakers will do a great job. As always, they will crank out the snow. And with this amount of cold, it's going to be full-on skiing everywhere as long as the skiers don't mind a little snowmaking in the process because it'll be going gangbusters. As always, everybody have a great, great week. I will post an update likely Friday night. I will be out of town, but we'll post an update because we're going to be in the heart of that cold air. And we'll keep you up to date throughout next week. As always, everybody, think snow.